Breaking Barriers with Deirdre Shannon. Today, I'm just going to go back into what I was talking about before. So, on my last show, I was telling you guys about what I've been doing the past couple years, why I took a break from the show, and just really diving back into me. So I ended with talking about what happened when I asked the father of my children to vacate our house and he had to go figure out somewhere else to live. And now I'm starting my new journey as a single mom of four. And then in August of 22, I started a brand new job. And I was just touching on what happens when you let go, when you really let go. So I was working at the beginning of 2022, I was working at a bank and I was making, you know, decent money, okay money, but definitely not enough to really support four children and pay a mortgage and all that type of stuff. And I started thinking to myself, like, oh my goodness, if I end this relationship, even though I carry most of the financial burden now, like I'm not going to have any financial help from their dad because things are already getting a little testy, a little rocky. And I know a lot of people, you're thinking like, girl, why didn't you just go down to child support or things like that? So I'll tell you, I didn't want to go that route. I feel like, you've made four children. Why do I have to tell you? Why do I have to chase after you? Every single day you need to eat, your children need to eat. Well, eggs on my face because I'm getting to the point now, even with child number four now being three, I'm now getting to the point where I'm like, all right, we might just have to go the court route. I'm just not that type of person. I don't want to have to fight with you. I don't want to have to argue with you. And especially as I've been on my own personal journey of like making myself better and really learning myself and standing up for myself and breaking my barriers, I was just like, we created life together. Why do I have to take your butt to court to get support? This is annoying. But anyways, so as I'm now in this house, like I said, you let go and see what happens. You let go, you see what the universe has for you. And as I was working at the bank, I got a phone call from another company and said, hey, you applied to work with us. You applied to work at our company 2 years ago. We have a job for you now. Are you interested? And I was like, I'll be straight up with you guys. I was like, well, how much does this job pay? Because that's really what matters. It was a substantial increase in pay. And I said, oh my goodness, I will now be able to comfortably pay my mortgage and take care of my children, even if their father doesn't help me. Bet. Took the job, started a new job. However, a lot of times, the universe provides some things, blessings come with you. You get blessed, but you also get challenges. You get barriers sometimes. So you have to take your blessings and continue to break those barriers. So I got this new job. Well, now I'm working. I'm working. I have the kids. The house is getting away from me, meaning cooking and cleaning. And I'm just like, oh my goodness, how am I going to do all this? Well, needless to say, the second half of 2022 and all of 2023, life was insane. But I made it through all of that. My oldest child is now 16 years old. And when I tell you guys, I am in awe of this young lady because I said to her, we're really going to have to buckle down and figure out how we're going to do this. And what I found interesting was the more I started talking to my daughter and really kind of opening up. I know a lot of people say like, oh, you're supposed to be your parent first and not your child's friend and things like that. Well, guess what? They're my kids and I can raise them how I want to. So I'm a very open book. I'm very big on communication. I started communicating with my daughter. I started to tell her, this is what I'm dealing with. This is what I'm not dealing with. I asked her, what is she dealing with? What is she thinking? How is she feeling? Mainly because she's the oldest. So her whole life, she saw the back and forth between her dad and I. Everybody would see their dad and I together and think that we were just amazing, rock solid couple and that we were perfect. No, we were so far from perfect. It's a joke, quite honestly. It's a joke. And what I found so amazing was that my daughter was like, I'm actually really grateful for what you did. I'm actually, I found out that she was dealing with some serious anxiety that her father was causing. She was going through so much and she was afraid to really come to me and tell me because as far as she was concerned, I was in it gung ho with her dad and I was sticking with her dad. And she told me, I love my dad. You know, he's my dad. I'll always love him. But there was things that he was doing. There were certain behaviors that he had that was really, really, really stressing her out. Then I started talking to my second oldest, and he started opening up, and he started being like, "Mom, like, Dad was intense. Dad was a lot, you know." And I got that. And as I've learned over these past couple years of relearning myself and relearning their father is intense. You know, a lot of dads are, a lot of moms are intense, you know, nowadays. But that fear I had in my head of, I need to make this relationship work. I got to stick it out. I got to do this for the kids. And meanwhile, my two oldest kids were like, no, we're good. We are good with just mom. We love dad. We miss dad. But living with him was hard. But now we have the other side of the coin. My two youngest, my third child, my daughter, she was daddy's girl. She is daddy's girl. And their father and I had gone back and forth in our relationship over the 15 years, but for the 5 years that she was alive, mom and dad were together the whole time. And that was her entire life. That was everything that she knew. Baby boy had just been born, you know, in 2022, he was only one. So as far as he's concerned, he's like, oh, you know, I just see mom for a while, but then I'll see dad every now and here again. Not quite sure what he's really piecing together, but children are very in tune with what's going on. So when their father first left, I could tell that baby boy was definitely feeling some type of way. But out of all four of them, he was the one that kind of bounced back the fastest. So I say all this to say that I was so busy holding on, and that my two oldest were actually kind of grateful for the breakup. My youngest doesn't really have an opinion. And my third, she's the one that's really going through it. So me and my two oldest decided to really get in there and really support baby number 3, really support her and it's everything that she needs. And I'll finish talking about that in just a minute. We'll be right back with Breaking Today. And I was talking about before the commercial break about really centering baby number 3, and my two older children and I just really coming together to support her, and me keeping that open door, letting her, you know, amazing, thank goodness for FaceTime nowadays, because whenever she misses her father, whenever she wants to see her father, I can say, call your dad, FaceTime, talk to him. And sometimes she'll say, I don't want to talk to him. I want to see my dad. I want my dad to come back. I want you and dad to be back together. And me having to, again, really break my own barriers and tell her every single time, mommy and daddy are not getting back together. It sucks. I'm sorry. It's not what you planned on. It's not how you saw your life. But dad and I will do the best that we can. And I would tell her all the time, daddy loves you. Mommy loves you. We're going to have to work through this. So I say this all to tell you guys that I really, really, really had to take a step back and really center on myself. Not to be selfish and not center on my children, but, you know, it's kind of like when you're on the airplane and they say if the plane starts going down and the oxygen mask falls, you have to put the mask on you first. So you have the oxygen that you need to put the mask on your children. Everybody says, put the mask on the children first and then worry about you. What happens if you pass out because you don't have the oxygen you need to put the mask on your child? then you both go. Same thing. You have a cup of water, or you're, as the mom, you're a pitcher of water. If you're steadily pouring it into this child, pouring into that child, pouring into the house, pouring into the job, you have to stop and pour into you. Eventually, your pitcher will be empty and you have nothing left to give. Same thing applies here. And that's where I really started to restart, hit the reset button. Please, everybody, don't be afraid to hit the reset button. Don't be afraid to do that. Because if you don't, you're going to burn out. You are going to burn out. You're going to continue on a path and live a life or work a job or be in a situation that you really don't want to be in, and you're not going to be happy. And when you're happy, your house is happy, your kids are happy. Are they happy that they have split up parents? No. But if they see the joy that I now have, and I can uplift them every single day, and I am still more than willing to do things with their dad. I'm willing to take vacations with their father, with all of us together. I'm willing to let him, for us to celebrate birthdays together, holidays together. I never understood couples that are married, create children, get a divorce, and then all of a sudden the kid has to go here, there. We got to go to this Christmas, that Christmas, this Thanksgiving. I'm not judging you, any of those that you guys do it, and everybody's situation is different. Again, this is personal to me, and this is my story, and I am the person that's willing to do those things with their father. So they still get that. You know, baby number 4 just had a birthday. His birthday was March 31st. Dad was here. We went to his family's house and we celebrated, and we had Easter here and things like that, because I want my children to look back and know, hey, mom and dad weren't together, but they came together at times, and it was great. It was fun. I don't want them to ever look back and say my mom and dad hate each other. Even if I don't like him. And there may be times that I don't like him, but kids, they don't need to know that all the time. And sometimes I'm pretty honest, and I'll say, I don't like your father right now, if they ask me, but I'll tell them all the time that we may not always like our family members, but we do love them. And at the end of the day, we created this family. Together. So as I say all that to say, you guys, like, I really started myself on a really, really exciting journey for myself. I started to change the way I eat, started eating healthier. I started to really clear my mind of everything that was boggling me down. And it's so interesting to have to tell you guys that my relationship was killing me. I was pretty much dead inside. I wasn't Deirdre anymore. I was just kind of going through each and every day of going through the process of being in a relationship. Did we have good times? Yes. Was there love between us? Yes. We have 4 examples of how much love was between us. And quite honestly, I will probably love him for the rest of my life. Love him in the sense of I created life with him, and 15 years of my life went to him, but he was not my end all be all. And that right there, that was a huge barrier I had to break within myself, was admitting that to myself, was that no matter how much I loved him, there was still something missing within me. I was still filled with sadness at times. I was still not feeling fulfilled. But then comes realizing it doesn't take a person, it doesn't take another person to fulfill you. You have to start with you. You have to fulfill yourself. So not only did I start changing the way I was thinking, I started to change the way I was eating. I started to really start to dive deep into what is it about me that I like so much. I talked in the past about shows about the fact that I grew up as a part of an interracial marriage, and people see me one way, when people see me, and I know I'm a Black female, but I also am made of, my dad is white, my mom is black. So that also makes up the environment that I grew up in. But what really defines me? So I'm not defined by who my parents are. I'm not defined by who my children are. I'm not defined by who the father of my children is. I get to decide that. I get to sit back and say, this is who I am. This is who I want to be. And what I put out there is hopefully what I'll get back, which is another thing where I like as I dove deeper, I got more and more excited about being like, oh my goodness, like if I'm just nice to people, they'll be nice back. I tie that into like, well, females are not, I always had a problem with females and them not being nice to me. But what I started to realize is that maybe I'm not presenting myself well to females, or maybe, my mom growing up used to call me rubber face because of my facial expressions. Maybe I'm giving the wrong facial expression. But then I also decided, screw it. If I love me and I enjoy me and my children love me, that's really all that matters. And I had to stop thinking about what everybody else wanted, what everybody else was thinking, and just think about myself. So we'll touch base on that in a second. We'll be right back with Breaking Barriers. Back to Breaking Barriers with Deirdre Shannon. And I was just talking about really diving in, getting back to myself. So I said to myself, no more holding back, no more overthinking, no more barriers in my mind. I need to block out all the naysayers. So I encourage you guys, block out all the naysayers. Everybody tried to tell me, oh, girl, you broke up with your man. Why would you do that? You have 4 kids. What are you thinking? How are you going to do that? My response was, I don't know, but I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to figure it out. I started to believe in myself. I started to love myself. I started to say to myself, no one else is here with you. No one else is living in your house with you beside. It's just you and these kids. Well, I also have a dog, a cat, and a goldfish, but whatever. So I guess I really have 7 children, if you really think about it, because that's just all in all 7 mouths to feed. But anyways, I had to block out all the naysayers. I had to get rid of all of that. So dig deep. I started to really stop. I stopped talking to a lot of people. I stopped going to certain family events, not because I don't like people, not because I don't like my family, just because I really need to focus on me. So I had to get a routine in my house. I had to get a schedule for the kids because the kids were trickling into work and work was trickling into the kids. And it was a hot mess. The dog was pawing at me. The cat was meowing at me. The fish was running around the fish tank. Like, what's going on? I started to realize how important I was to these children and to these animals. So I decided, I said, what we will do moving forward is we're really going to get a schedule in place. So me and oldest daughter, we sat down, we got a schedule put together. We started talking about meals for the week. We started talking about, what time is bedtime, baths and everything, and really scheduling it out. And I can't tell y'all. One, again, I told you how in awe I am of my oldest daughter. I cannot tell you. With her now being able to feel more comfortable in her house because she wasn't dealing with the certain pressures that her dad was putting on her, how she started to flourish. And how she really, really, really stepped up for her siblings. I know a lot of you out there thinking like, what are you talking about, lady? This is crazy. She's a child. She should be able to be a child. And again, you're right. And trust me when I tell you, I give a lot of space to my oldest for her to be a kid when she needs to be a kid and all that type of things. But she also came to me and told me, she said, I love my siblings and I love taking, and I enjoy it. So she was like, don't worry about what other people think. Nobody else lives in our house. And nobody else really needs to have the right to tell us how we should do this because they're not coming along paying these bills and they're not coming along to raise the rest of us. So I loved her for that. I loved that conversation between us, and it was absolutely amazing. So not only that, but I started to do I really got into doing morning affirmations. I really started to wake up and give myself at least 30 minutes to an hour while the house was still quiet, just to myself, and focusing in on what I needed to do for the day and things like that. I can't tell you guys how excited I am, because as more shows coming out, I'm really going to dive really deep into um, this journey that I've been on. And hopefully you guys are open to share about the journeys that you're taking yourselves in your own lives. And, soon I'm going to have a show about journaling and all that type of stuff. So I'm really excited to share that with you guys and about forward. So I say all this to say that now I'm still at the job that I started in 2022. I really got everything down packed now. I'm really seasoned in the position and things are going well. I have stuck to the schedule that me and my oldest daughter have put together. And I've just been really excited about getting back to me. Like I said, I did real estate class. So now people are asking me, how are you going to work a job? How are you going to be a real estate agent? How are you going to be a mom and do a podcast? Well, I'm here to tell you, I'm doing it. I'm doing it, and no one's going to tell me no anymore. And I can't tell you how good it feels to say, basically, like, screw you. Screw all of the naysayers, screw all the people that said you can't do this, you can only do this. People always try to put you in a box. And really, you start to realize that's the box that they've put themselves in. It doesn't have to be the box. Put yourself in. So I just want to encourage you guys so much with whatever it is that you're going through. And I wanted to share this little excerpt with you. Every morning I get a text from a gentleman who runs a mentor group for youth. And I just wanted to share this. And this kind of really goes into how I went on my journey, how I started my journey, and where I am today. So we start with Grand Rising. The slower we go, the faster we get there. Instant gratification is common in our society today. We can have our shopping delivered right to our door the same day we ordered it. We can watch TV shows instantly and without commercials. And we have emails delivered directly to our watches. So some feel that when they experience trauma, healing should be immediate as well. Today, God says, slow down, take a breath, and wait on Him for wholeness. Wait patiently for the Lord, the universe. Be brave and be courageous. And I share that with you guys because that's exactly what I had to do. I had to slow down. Here I was, ending a 15-year relationship, leaving a job, buying a house, taking on real estate classes while getting seasoned in a new job, all while having 4 human mouths and 3 animal mouths to feed. So yes, how did I get to where I got to today? I slowed down. I took myself away from extracurricular activities. I stopped going to family events, and I focused on me. I focused on Deirdre. I focused on the barriers that I needed to break within my household, within my mind, within my body, within my soul. And I just can't tell you how exciting it is to feel comfortable in your skin, to just feel comfortable and share the joy that I have with my children, and the excitement of what's to come next. Because now I wake up, I'm like, ooh, what today? What are we going to do today? So I just want to wrap up with you guys, and I want to share one last slide with you. And I've decided from now on, when I end my shows, I'm going to end with this every single time. Learning to really love and focus on me. And I took these 2 pictures because I was just really feeling myself. I was like, girl, you know what? You look good. So I encourage that. So I'm going to end with, always be a phoenix and always rise from the ashes. Life is a journey. Enjoy the ride. In the stillness of winter, stop and appreciate all the beauty around you. And be who you are and make your story legendary. I'm so excited to be back, you guys. I can't wait to share more with you. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Breaking Barriers.